Hey, welcome to Valiant Business, where we champion and equip freedom and faith-minded business leaders to fuel growth so they can make a measurable difference in their community and the world. I'm Amy Alexander, the focus czar of growth strategists.
Hey, I'm David Mills. I am the story ecologist of growth strategists.
Ooh.
I have a new one every time, right?
Hi, I'm Chad Alexander, the chaos theorist of growth strategists. And one of these days, I'll change up my title too, so I can truly become a chaos theorist. And one of these days, we'll also unpack what that means in a future podcast.
I love it. The empty promise. All right. Today, we are talking about a huge shift in search. Google became such a normal part of our life that it became its own adjective. If we need to search something, what do? We Google it.
Google it.
Google it.
We grab our encyclopedias and research it. Oh, wait, it's not 90s anymore. Never mind.
Yeah, it's not your 8th grade self. That search query is followed by scrolling and sorting and skimming until we find some semblance of an answer. But with the entrance of AI as powerful as Chat GPT, our search habits are about to change. This begs the serious question, what's next? And we think the future of search is answers. Before we dive in, you should know we're a team of award-winning experts that build brands, websites, and content with real gravity. If you're a mission-minded leader that wants to catalyze transformation in your business and community, then hit the subscribe button and journey with us as we explore biblical leadership and practical lead-generating strategies. So search, what's the big deal, guys, and why are we even talking about this?
We're talking about it because it's a big deal. Oh, you already said that.
Oh, because it's a big deal.
Because, I think the bottom line is that 95% of people are using a Google search or, 3% of Bing search to get an answer. That's true, 3%.
Sorry.
Now, by the way, Bing is owned, just follow the logic here. Bing is owned by Microsoft, which has $10 billion plus in Chat GPT. So Bing may be coming to a theater near you real soon, and I hope it does. But essentially, 95% of the buyer behavior, if you want to get buyers, either no matter how you start the conversation, somewhere in the process, they're going to check you out online. They're going to learn about you online, learn about you from your own website as well as other people's websites. So search is an integral part of sourcing buyers. So think of it that way, not just sourcing traffic, but sourcing buyers.
Yeah, I'd say that since the normalization and integration of the World Wide Web into our lives, into the lives of every consumer, getting found online has become a key task for most marketing efforts. And obviously getting found online requires search engines, right? So like if you hear the term SEO, search engine optimization, that's all about optimizing the syntax, the content, the code behind your website to play well with search engines so that when anyone searches something that has anything to do with your business or what you sell, you come to the top. If you don't come near the top, you don't get found, and therefore your business is dead. Not really, but it does feel that way, right? So search just matters. It just does. It's a huge part of marketing efforts.
And, a lot of people have spent tons of money on outsourcing kind of generic content. They've paid all kinds of SEO fees. You can see it especially in local service companies, they're fighting it out to see who gets the top listing. And now we see Angie's List and Thumbtack and others fighting out for that spot, Home Advisor, right? So there's this huge battle. Attorneys are fighting it out who gets listed on the top because they know that being on the top page of search listings means that you're going to get clicks. If you're not on the first page of search listings, you're not going to get clicks, right? So it's about 95% of people are searching and about 95% of them are clicking on what's on the first page of search. So it's a very, very big competition around this. A lot of money has gone into it.
I remember when I was, I don't know how young, learning initially how to use search engines. There was this whole theory around it, make sure you use quotation marks around the actual phrase you want to search, right? Remember that? When you couldn't use real language, when you had to be really careful about exactly how you searched to make sure you got exactly the right response. But that's still kind of true today. To some extent, we have to figure out how to get the answers we're looking for. And so we still have to be thoughtful about exactly what words we search. Google's super smart, but still, we have to be thoughtful and figure out exactly what right search term is going to get us exactly the right return. And so I would say, as compared to something like Chat GPT, the way we search is actually kind of arduous. Like if we're talking about a futuristic, simple what's next, and you think about the work we have to do to get answers, not as compared to like 30 years ago or 50 years ago. That's ridiculous, right? The idea that this would be arduous is ridiculous as compared to that. When you think about what's next or how simple it could be with the use of AI, you realize that search is still actually a little bit time consuming and a little bit annoying.
And really, I think that search has become like the new phone book. There's so much available in there. Like, if you put in almost anything, you'll see there's like 10 million replies or 10 million returns, and you can keep searching. You can keep scrolling forever, but it has created this reality called surfing, right? Internet surfing. What that means is that we are basically, it's heuristic. We put in a term, we look at the pages. If it looks like what we're looking for, we click. If it doesn't, we put a different term in, right? And we just do this surfing thing. We open a page. If it has kind of the thing we're looking for, we stick. Otherwise, we go to the next page, right? So there's this surfing behavior that we've had to adopt or adapt so that we can efficiently or try to sort through all the stuff that's being put in front of us. And of course, the people that get the top rankings, they don't get those rankings because they have the best information. They get those rankings because they have the best search engine optimization. They spent the most money on it.
Yep.
Right. And the ones on the very top are actually paying real money, not just investing in search engine optimization and content, but actually paying for ads, right? So it's ads. And then we have the local snack pack. And then we've got these lists of articles. And we just have to go through this kind of sorting deal. So this is a human behavior that most people have adopted. Think about the shopping behavior that goes with this. This is a big application for this. Like, think about sorting through stuff, like just looking through clothes or whatever you're trying to buy. I was looking this morning at I need a line trimmer that has a walk behind for my yard because mine blew up last year. And so, I'm just sorting through all the listings, trying to find one that I think would be good for me. So this surfing behavior is what we've it's become part of our own personal operating system, is web surfing, which is kind of weird, right? We've become connected to the machine in a kind of an odd way.
Chad, you listened to an interview from the creators of Chat GPT, and they were talking about some of the challenges they're still having. Do you want to recap that? Because I thought that was interesting. Recently
listened to a podcast on how we built this. And it had in the co-founder of Chat GPT, I believe it was OpenAI, on there. And he was talking about how a lot of times their primary focus was basically to make sure that the AI could deliver to you answers that were in a syntax that was very much synonymous with the English language, right? It would return to you something that was written well. And now they're trying to really work on disinformation or facts that aren't correct. So they actually put into Chat GPT his name, and I apologize if I don't remember his name. And they put in his name, and it spun out 2 articles about him, both of which had erroneous information in them. So he's like, yeah, we definitely have to work out kinks on it. And the application of it though is that he sees this basically this mainframe. It would be like this skyscraper and have all the servers basically that would house all this AI, and where people would go and they would ask questions of it, and he would depending on how many compute cycles we want to add to it, we could say, okay, have a cure for cancer, and if we put enough processing power to it, it can start, get faster and faster and faster until it reaches the conclusion. So pretty interesting stuff. And I think with this, I know it set off alarm bells in Google. And once they announced Bard, their stock plummeted like 7% or something. And that's a lot for Google. But it's definitely a warning sign for them that they're no longer the big kid on the block. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but like I know personally with my search, I'm like Dave, like I'm searching very specific things and I'm not finding what I'm looking for. And that concerns me. It's like, I type in something, I expect Google to be smart enough to deliver that back to me, but it's become so commercialized and so diluted. People have been playing this SEO game for so long that they've gamed the system, and it's only the guys who actually play the game that actually get into the sandbox rather than Google actually helping the planet out and actually serving them the right answers.
It's an interesting comparison to what's happened with blockchain, because blockchain is essentially a distributed system in which all the different servers have to agree on a transaction, and it's actually distributed, and it's not really in its by nature authoritarian. It is egalitarian, right? And so with AI, with Google, honestly, and most of the other search engines right now, it is very authoritarian. So there's a tremendous amount of control being exercised into what we actually can see. So to me, that's one concern I have, is what is it going to take for us to make sure that we're not just getting whatever whoever they is, want us to consume, but we're actually getting information. During the pandemic, there was a lot of stuff that was just intentionally withheld. Information that would not come up in search on, not just on Google, but on the social media channels as well. So I have concerns about the authoritarian element behind this. Like you're saying, Chat, you're not finding what you're looking for. There's errors in the article. Well, who decides, right? And Wikipedia is used kind of a little more of a crowdsourced approach to some of that. But I think we have to always ask the question, like, who's behind the curtain at Oz? Who's actually pulling these cords and pushing these buttons? Because I frankly don't trust them very much. So to me, that's not necessarily a positive. On a reality basis for like businesses, like this is a big change. What's happening is a big change. It's going to impact a lot of businesses in the way that they actually get their customers.
I will definitely agree that it's a huge concern to me. It's been a huge concern to me for a very long time, big tech. I think it is for a lot of us. Needless to say, it's for sure a concern. But I think none of us are here to talk about the morality of big tech. We're more here to talk about what do we do about it? Like, I have a ton of concerns about the idea that we're going to become people that just open up an app, ask some kind of AI, whether it's Chat GPT or something else, ask it a question and assume the single answer we get back is the right one. It's part of why I do like to do my own research, because I like to see who's putting the information out and decide what information I think is valuable and what's not valuable. So I do think there's a future where we're just using apps and getting a single answer and moving along with our day. So that's pretty terrifying. But regardless, if we know that's where we're headed, how do we as businesses respond to that? And what does our search marketing look like?
Yeah. So I think, Amy, the important question to really ask is what's actually changed? And so we see this thing emerging, but like what's changed in the real world for us? Where is it going? And what I see is that for a while, we've had to serve kind of two masters. We have to serve the algorithm and we have to serve the human, right? The algorithm says it has to be 2,000 words long, has to have certain layout in terms of H1, H2, H3, et cetera, et cetera. All the pictures have to have certain things behind them. That's the algorithm. On the other side, we have the human, the people that actually want information. So Google, for some time, has been trying to transition from serving the algorithm to actually moving toward human language in search. And we see this more and more. The emergence of voice search on our phones and on our kind of home devices has made a big difference. But there's been this movement toward using human language. And you also saw in Google, you saw the knowledge graph start to pop up, which is when you type in something and just an answer pops up. And this is information that Google actually is serving. A lot of it, like, is health information, population information, all kinds of stuff is just a fact in which Google's behaving like it's Encyclopedia Britannica. Then they added snippets, which are other people's information, right? And Google's been going after, if they could get away with it, a zero click, in which you could get information without going anywhere, right? So this whole thing has been percolating now for a few years. And then all of a sudden, bam, Chat GPT shows up on the scene and things start to rock and roll in a brand new way, which is really interesting. But don't you think that the experience, like when you go into Google, how do you guys experience that? Chad, you were saying that you go and search for stuff and don't find what you want, but what's the experience been like for the last few years of trying to get information out of Google for you?
I mean, I think what a lot of us do is we search, skim, scroll, click, scroll, go back, scroll, skim, click, go back until we find the right answer. But something you brought up about snippets, I mean, when clients ask us about snippets, how do I get into snippets? Do I want to get into snippets? It's always this really weird yes and no answer. Yes, you want to get into snippets because Google is determining your website authority by things like, do you have snippets to provide to them? Can you get in one of those little slots up there? Because your answer is exactly the answer people are looking for. So you want to get into snippets because you want authority on your website. But if you get into a snippet, people will not click through to your website, which means you can't get any credibility or earn any more relationship with the user because they never even see, unless they're really looking, they never see who the answer's from. They don't care. They just want the answer. And so you're not really building that relationship. But the point that I want to make here is just that something else that's so interesting about the current state of search is that Google not only is controlling what kinds of things are coming to the top, but they're also determining the authority of websites, which is extremely manipulative and controlling. I mean, they are somehow, as a superpower, in charge of who is authoritative in the entire world. That's pretty crazy. And so, I don't know. I'll be very interested to see what does that look like. Who's now going to determine who has the most authority? How does a website get authority in search with something like Chat GPT or?
It's almost like, Amy, it's almost like Google, and like I said, I hope it's not just Google soon. I hope it's some other people who are serious players as well.
Amen.
But it's almost like they're saying, you're worthy, and you're worthy, and you're worthy, and then you suck to somebody else, right? And I wonder, like, if you type in the word value investing into Google, I wonder if Warren Buffett comes up. And so I'm on the first page of Google. I just typed in value investing. And guess what? Warren Buffett's website does not show up. Okay? At all. So when we talk about real authority, by the way, if you want to look at a real study in simplicity, just for the fun of it, go look at his website, right? Berkshire, is it Berkshire Investing?
Berkshire Hathaway.
Yeah, just go look it up, right? So, but he's like the king of value investing. He's not the author of it, but he's the one who has really made it part of our market today. And there's people who follow him, but like he's not on the first page of Google, but he's the guy. So to me, it's just bizarre that, the authority gets placed. And so this is one of the things that businesses find to be so infuriating. Like they might be the best provider of whatever widget or service they sell. They might be the best one in the world, but that doesn't mean they're showing up on Google. But the business reality is they got to figure out a way to show up, even though maybe it's not fair, right? So to me, it's just a very, very strange social reality. I'm kind of philosophical today, huh? What do you think?
I like it. And I'll give you guys another example too. Speaking of snippets earlier. So I was just goofing around one day with Google and I said, what is the size of an American king size bed, right? Pretty common deal. It returns a snippet back to me of the dimensions of it in inches because we're in the colonies. And so comes back and it's from the snippet source is not like from Mattress Warehouse or something like that where you would expect it to be, right? Like totally, right? It would totally make sense to be in there. No, it comes from US News. Okay. So I do some more digging. I was like, you know what? I'm curious. So I typed in United States news because if you said U.S. news, of course it's going to come up. It's its name, right? No, guys, like it was in the middle of the page on page 1. It was behind NBC News. It was behind CBS and all these other news outlets. And it's United States news. I mean, come on. It's like, and I know they probably have to have pretty good SEO. I looked at the domain authority compared to the others. They have decent, good 93 domain authority, right? And they still don't show up on like the first thing on Google. So it's like, what is going on with Google? It's just really, it's kind of disheartening, honestly.
I think that we can't underestimate the level of frustration that people have with, what they're being served up, because Google's in the business to make money. And, their first job is to sell ads, right? So they do have a big thing about, kind of integrity between the ad and what's underneath it in a landing page. And they'll penalize you, based on, they'll penalize you if consumers indicate that it's not connected. So they don't want to sell clickbait. However, I think people are extremely frustrated with this experience of having to do what Amy described it, search, skim, click, go back, scan, search, skim, go back. It's like, I might as well be reading the yellow pages without my glasses. Just trying to flip through till I find the thing. And then, maybe I just give up and pick one, throw a dart at it. My computer monitor's got holes in it because I've been throwing darts at the different listings trying to pick one. So I think there's a lot of, I was even angry about it.
I have a really quick Mattress Warehouse aside that I just feel like I need to share here. I was watching a reel a long time ago of this, just seemed like a normal girl, but she said, listen, I have a conspiracy theory that I think is absolutely true. Mattress Warehouse is a money laundering scheme. And then she brings up a map of just the sheer number of mattress warehouses, all of which are along major highways, just one after the other after the other. She's like, who's going here? No one. No one's going here. These can't possibly all be getting great business. It's absolutely money laundering. So I just searched when you said Mattress Warehouse. I just searched it in our area alone. There's like 30 of them or something insane, and they're all along major highways. And I'm like, what? She's right. This is it's absolutely money laundering. All right, that's all. That's my side.
So is that like money under the mattress? Is that kind of like the thing you're going for?
I was going to
Makes absolute sense.
Yeah, right.
So there's no secret why when Chat GPT hit the scene, given this kind of background, and the frustration people have with the current search environment and the dependence they have on it, and bam, there's this dramatic thing in the market. It's kind of like, it reminds me of Lord of the Rings when they're at the inn and one of them says they have pints, right? So it's like you go online, you ask a question, they have answers. And I think that's what's happened here is people went, man, you could type in a question and you could get like an answer. Now, of course, students are probably using it to write their term papers if they're smart, but I think it's a big change. I think it's a huge change from this kind of search domination. You could probably come up with some kind of evil empire analogy here around search domination. Right? I think you could, right? So I think it's obvious why there's such a big reaction to this.
Yeah. And so let me piggyback off on that real quick about college. So back in college, I used to have there's a couple good professors I had that were totally like, yeah, use Google during the test. We don't care, because they knew, like, especially back then, how imperative it was you knew how to search Google. So, now Chat GPT is like, here you go. Here's the answer. Here you go. I did your homework for you.
What it comes down to is that we're at the stage in civilization, that sounds really dramatic, in which we should be able to assimilate the massive ocean of content on the internet in a better way. That's just true. Like, we're there. There's better way. And I hate the word better, but it's just true. There's a new way. There's a way that is more streamlined. So, but then the question again is, what does that mean for search engine optimization? What does that mean for getting found online? What does it all mean?
I want it to be like the Matrix, and I go up to this helicopter and say, "Tank, I need a program for the Apache helicopter." He goes, "Okay, I know how to fly it now." That's what I want.
So I've had this privilege of getting to work with a company called Ask Vet. You can look them up, askvet.app, and they actually have launched an AI driven answer engine for pets. Their answer engine is called Vera. And I heard their CEO, Cal Lai, say something really, I think, very profound. He said, and I've been quoting this since I heard him say it. He said, "The era of search is over. We have entered the era of answers." And I think that is absolutely what has happened here. The era of generic articles and a bunch of commercialized ads and the endless search and sort experience is now going away. And we've now entered the era of answers. And that's what people want, right? So in the case of askvet.app, they have, 1.5 million discussions in between vets and pet owners, 1.5 million. And nobody could manage all the information, but guess what? Their new AI can. And you can go there, askvet.app. You can go there right now. You can ask their AI any question about your pet, behavior, or health, and it will give you the benefit of these. I think they said it's like, 60 million hours of human experience. It'll sort through it and give you an answer in plain English. That's pretty cool, right? That's a valuable thing. But I do think that this reality is actually changing the era that we are in. And I think we're leaving the era of search and we are going into the era of answers. And I think that's what businesses have to understand is that if we're going to win in this new era, then you have to be able, as a business owner, to own the answers. If you own the answers in the market today, you are going to position yourself to win more customers, win better market position, and put yourself in a position to really grow. If you do not own the answers and you keep on trying to compete based on generic search and canned social, then you're going to lose online. I think that's just the straight up truth.
And by own the answers, do you mean hoard the answers and keep them behind a sales team member that has to be contacted in order to get the answers?
Yeah, of course.
I'm guessing no.
The salespeople are that's reality from the 1950s, right? The salesperson was a person who knew everything, and you had to go to the salesperson to get all the answers. Well, that ended a long time ago because people got their own answers. And they've been doing that for a couple decades now, especially the last decade. And so now it's really about taking the answers that you uniquely have because you're experienced in your industry and sharing those with your customers so that they can do what they want to do with Chat GPT. They can get good answers. And you guys know stuff as a business owner and your team, your salespeople, your service people, you know stuff that Chat GPT doesn't know about your market and about the industry and about what's working and what's not working. So I think that's what we have to be able to do is become the source of trusted answers for our customers.
And why do you do that? Why do you share answers? Because you qualify customers, guys. Come on. So if someone comes up and they're researching all this stuff, maybe they can deploy their own, I don't know, maybe they can rebuild an engine by themselves by looking at a few tutorials online on YouTube. Okay, cool. Maybe they can't. They got to come to your automotive repair shop, right? You don't know, but at least until you qualify them, give them the answers that they truly need, you're not doing yourself any favors. You're not doing them any favors. If you make it more convenient and easy for them to take the next steps in their buyer journey, you are going to be their mentor in their buyer journey. Come on, guys. Don't be a mentee, be a mentor. I don't even know what a mentee is, but anyways.
So moved into a new house about 18 months ago, and the owners left a pool table in our basement. We were like, sweet, this is so great. 18 months later, we have never played it. Obviously, we have two 4-year-olds. I don't know why we ever thought like we're going to be down there, drinking a beer with our buddies, playing pool. It's just not a thing. So for the last about 6 months, we've been trying to get rid of it. We've had more than one person. We're like, it's free, okay? It's free. Just take it. But actually, we started at, should we sell this thing? And so Chad was doing a little bit of research and come to find out, moving pool tables is really expensive. Why? Because the slates in a pool table are crazy heavy. We have like a regulation size pool table. Okay. It's big. So, Chad found this guy online. Their business is taking apart and moving pool tables. And he has a how-to video. Do it all by yourself. And Chad, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think at the beginning of the video, he basically says, I'm going to tell you exactly how to do this. And what you're going to see is that it's a huge pain in the butt and you don't want to do it yourself. So here you go.
It's classic. He's like a curmudgeon the entire time. I love it. And I started watching it and I'm like, dude, your demeanor means that I don't want to attempt this. Like the way he sold it, he's like, you do not want to do this without our help. And I'm like, all right, I will not try this because I was going to try to attempt to do it and take it out.
Yeah. So since then, everyone that almost takes it out of our house realizes they can't do it themselves. And then they realize it's like $1,000 to move it, and then they bail. And so I've got someone on the line right now. I'm like, come on, just get 20 guys from your church to come. It's fine. It's for the students. They're like trying to put it in their youth group room. But anyway, but I think that's such a great example of owning the answer. Like there's no answer you have that is going to deter a qualified buyer, like Chad said, from knocking on your door. If they really want to do it themselves, they're not someone you want. Anyway,
I've got a great series that some automotive place should do. An Own the Answer series. What they should do is, and by the way, we should be transparent about the fact that we actually have an Own the Answers program. It's a monthly program that their clients can take advantage of that helps them do this thing. So this is our term, Own the Answers. Like, so I want to be transparent about that it's a little bit of commercial plug here because we have this thing. However, I was thinking about for car dealer or car repair people, what they should do is they should get a bunch of cars that come in broken and they should record all the sounds that they make. And they should say, if your car sounds like this is what's wrong. If your car sounds like this is what's wrong, right? So you could have like this auditory library of bad car sounds. I was mentioning earlier, I've got this line trimmer. It's making a weird sound when you pull the rope, right? If I knew what that weird sound was, I would have the answer. I would know, trash it, get it repaired, So those are all good examples.
That's a great idea. I recently, one of our girls had a really terrible cough the last couple of weeks. And one night it was really bad and Chad was out and I was kind of getting worried. And lo and behold, YouTube has the stuff. It has the answers. It has multiple recordings of multiple children in different coughs for different kinds of sicknesses. So I was able to hear a croup cough and I was able to hear a whooping cough and all those things, which was kind of sad. Like it was very weird to sit in my bedroom listening to horribly sick children cough. But it was also very valuable to me. Some doctor has owned the answers on this. It was him. It wasn't YouTube, right? It was this guy who realized that this is an important thing that parents need to understand. It was super helpful. But I love that idea, Dave.
I think that in the end, I think the companies that are going to win, which is why we're invested in this approach, are those that are willing to talk about stuff that no one else is willing to talk about. And they're going to answer questions that no one else wants to answer. And I think really what we're talking about is being fearless enough to actually answer the real customer questions that people actually have and not just say, it depends, or come in and talk to us, or schedule an appointment. Like, just answer the question, and I think that's what people really want. And we're going to see that is the predominant mode of search in the coming days, as it's already shifted in a big way, but it's going to keep on going that direction.
We've heard from Bruce Kirk a couple weeks ago, and this makes me think of that. He was talking a lot about detachment from a sale, being detached about someone's yes or their no, being completely fine with them as adults deciding that this is or isn't a good purchase for them, and being that guide. And I think that having public answers, in multi-channels, what we're talking about is you need to have answers in every possible channel. Answers to questions that people don't want to answer and own those answers. But that is detachment from a yes or a no. That's consultative sales at its finest, just being people's guide, giving people actual answers and knowing that they're an adult and they can probably decide if this is a good or bad decision without having to be manipulated or convinced.
And so much of that is baked into kind of in current marketing and sales is some kind of effort to cajole, control, coax. That's my 3 C words for today. People into what you want them to do, but it isn't about what you want them to do. It's what's best for them. And if you're actually serving them, then you'll give them the answers that they need to help them to move down the process of coming to a good conclusion. And I like what you said, Amy, not coming from Bruce, you don't have to control or be concerned about the yes and the no.
I find that this is also true in selling the service itself, like when you're in the middle of it. Here's what I mean. So we build small, very focused websites. They're high-performing websites. And we're in the middle of a web development for a larger team than we sometimes work with. We often work with 1 or 2 key stakeholders, but in this particular project, we're working with about 4 stakeholders, all of whom have a really important perspective and all of whom are sort of best in class in their own field. And so they bring really great questions, but they're also very committed to one voice feedback. So in presenting anything, whether it's content or their homepage design or whatever we're presenting, they have a practice of just asking really hard questions that they need the answer to. And they'll take those questions back and they'll discuss amongst themselves and then give us feedback. They don't give feedback in our meetings, which I love. But it's the same thing. I remember early on in our relationship presenting one of our very first things and having this be a little bit abnormal in the way these meetings go. The CEO said, "Hey, there's no right or wrong answer. I just need to know." And that is, sometimes in sales, that's true. There is a right or a wrong answer. And when they hear the wrong answer, it's a no for them. But a lot of times, sales is about helping them understand. They just need to know the answer, because how can they decide if they don't understand? And so if you're giving them a half answer or a manipulative answer, that's not really giving them what they need. There is no right or wrong answer. There's just the answers to the questions. And it doesn't have to be emotional or fear-based. It can just be what it is.
I guess what you're saying, we just be truthful, huh? We should just tell the truth.
Yeah, like honesty. We should try that.
I think that transparency is a big part of this. Being willing to talk about, like in the mattress area, Chad, like the people who are in the mattress manufacturing business, they know all kinds of stuff about mattresses that we don't know, about hygiene, about health, about back health, about how long the mattress is going to last, about which mattresses, are going to serve different people based on their body type. Like that's a lot of stuff they know. We don't know any of that. And so if they would just dish a little bit, and tell us the truth, that if you buy this kind of mattress, it's only going to last this number of years, I think it would help us out. The problem is that a lot of times people don't want to tell the truth. They don't want to be transparent. And I guarantee you there's some kind of mattresses on the market that are a complete ripoff, and everyone knows it who's in the market. It's just that we don't know as customers, right? And so we're just left trying to figure it out.
Sometimes, like I passed this massive van very often. It's down the street from me with a big sign that says
queen size, right?
Queen size liquidation mattresses. Sale.
Yeah, it's like
queen size mattresses liquidation. And I know those are not good mattresses because it's been there for
I'm not talking about
years.
that. I'm talking about just the huge variety.
Don't tease me.
Everyone's got a claim, and so as consumers and buyers, and by the way, it doesn't matter if it's B2B or B2C, people are going through the same stuff. They're wrestling with the same stuff. Is this a good buy? Is this a bad buy? What are you not telling me about this? And so I think that's what people are facing. And so the person that's willing to really lay it out there transparently is going to be the person that people are going to trust. And if your product or service is not the right one, then you know what? They shouldn't buy from you, and you don't want them to buy from you because they're not going to be happy, right? And you're not going to help them, and that's going to hurt them and you. So you're better off being transparent about it, I think.
Something else that's interesting about the future of owning answers and the kind of the death, quote unquote, of search is that the sales and marketing jobs are going to drastically shift. There was already this massive shift, and there's a huge discussion about whether or not we were getting rid of salespeople or getting rid of marketing people, but the two jobs were becoming one in either way, right? And so there's definitely a conversation around like writers are going to have to totally change the way they work. You won't need as many of them, but also owning the answer is really a salesperson's world. I mean, if you're a marketer listening to this, understanding the value of the knowledge inside your sales team's head, like that has got to be, we have to stop working in silos. We have to stop competing and talking about who is converting properly or who's bringing the leads properly or whether or not they're qualified and whose fault it is that we're not getting revenue. Like those conversations have to end, because where we're at is that you have got to work together and possibly be the same. Like we've said for many years that a marketing and sales office is better as a single marketing and sales office, like people that work together. But now it's like the same people doing the same stuff. And so the sales team has really important knowledge. They're the ones who own the answers. And we just have to be okay with that. And we have to value it and respect it, Could be challenging for some.
Big changes. Big changes. We have a fancy word for that. We call it smarketing, right? SMARKETING, smarketing. It's this combined role.
We also like to call, no one does this, but we like to call the marketing and the sales team the story team, because like that's what's actually happening.
Yeah.
Is they're the ones owning the journey and the brand story. But
we're the only ones. Oh well,
no one does that.
Maybe somebody listening will decide they're going to start calling their marketing team their story team. So that maybe they'll do that, and they can let us know after they subscribe.
If you do, let us know. We would love to know. Well, guys, this was very interesting. I'm super excited about the Own the Answers era. It'd be very interesting to see how companies take this, and I'm excited about the stories we're going to get out of it with companies that we're going to help do that, because it's a pretty fun thing. If you are interested in our Own the Answers stuff, there is a link in the show notes. Also, we do have a 3-step growth system. It's a free 1-hour masterclass that's yours for the taking. That's also in the show notes. We hope that's useful to you. Don't forget to subscribe. And thank you so much for joining us. We will see you guys next week.